Vehicles are quite distinct in layers from other trucks around the world. Each part of the vehicle is decorated differently, with variations depending on the regional style. In Pakistan, a truck driver owner usually pays $3,000 to $5,000 for their vehicle's external decoration. The art embellishes such trucks according to the particular tastes of the driver. Nearly every city in Pakistan has a unique decor. The Balochistani and Peshawari trucks are heavily trimmed with wood. Rawalpindi and Islamabad trucks have permanently featured plastic work. Camel-borne ornamentation is commonly seen in trucks decorated by Sindh artists. These trucks are also representative of different local, historical, and cultural regions of Pakistan. Thus, these trucks are also representative of different historical and cultural regions of Pakistan, the enchanting arts and crafts of Pakistan.
Magla Hills, the heaven of Islamabad, the abode of God, a place where you can explore your soul and meet power of natural elegance of mountains. Spread over an area of 12,605 hectares, the Magla Range, the foothills of Himalayas, are youngest hills with an age of 5,000 years old.
Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Fatouh Patafi. We have been talking about politics of Pakistan for quite a while now. There are many aspects which are very important. On one side, yesterday we pointed out that coronavirus once again is a policy challenge. It is a huge concern right now. That is not all. There are umpteen other aspects which are important. But if you remember yesterday, we pointed out that the political parties should be discouraged. Then the government already has said that its own political party is not going to hold any rallies or jalsas because of the spread of coronavirus. But despite that, today we saw PMLN holding a jalsa in Peshawar, and there once again we saw hardly any social distancing, or for that matter any masks at all. PDM is back on its campaign trail. I don't know what exactly is the purpose of campaign. They keep on saying that they are actually working to get more democracy in the country, but amazingly all their concerns are primarily those which did not exist when they were in government, right? So it seems more of political opportunism on various parties' behalf, that you keep on invoking the issues that at your time were not there, but right now they think they are. Even though their entire narrative is about last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? PDM has presented its 12-point agenda as well, and mostly the arguments are the same that we have been hearing in the past as well. There's nothing new. On one side, we hear PMLN talking about the possibility of a national dialogue. Then Maryam Nawaz, the vice president of the party, says that she is not ready to talk to the government of Pakistan. So who do they want to talk to? They apparently want to talk to the establishment of the country. And yet, we have seen the kind of statements that came from, say, Ayaz Sadiq. That kind of statements actually keep coming, and they, various circles keep on pointing out that it actually benefits it benefits Pakistan's detractors like India and Narendra Modi, who very happily kept on quoting Ayaz Sadiq. Indian media at this moment seems to be in a very unique kind of state of mind, where Namanzoor word is heard as Namo Namo or something of that sort. That is one aspect that is interesting. Regarding domestic aspects as well, Ayaz Sadiq's statement, which somehow got buried in various other aspects of various other speculations, actually seem to undermine the state's gains as well, the army's profile as well. Army has proven that it has beaten the terrorism as much as was possible, and then it has actually regained momentum for the country as well. So these concerns are there. On one side, you are attacking the institutions of the country, and then you expect that you should be given some kind of audience or some kind of dialogue as well. We are going to talk about all these matters and more, and above everything else, we are going to talk about coronavirus as well. We are joined by Imtiaz Hussain Badai Sahab, legal expert and an intellectual of renown. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Next to him is Amir Hussain Sahab, political analyst, regular on this show. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. From Lahore, via Skype, we are joined by Asim Shaukat Ali Sahab, who is spokesman of Punjab government. Thank you very much, Asim Sahab, for being part of the program as well. First of all, Asim Sahab, let me ask you, and let me combine two aspects which are very important. We know that PDM is going to hold a Jalsa in Lahore as well. On the other side, your government actually had announced that government is not going to actually hold any rallies or public events of its own, and then it had requested other political parties as well. Right now, today, there was a Jalsa in Peshawar and there was no social distancing. Now it is going to happen in Punjab as well. What are you going to do about it?
Thank you, Patafi Saab. First of all, the way they are behaving, this is proof enough that they are least bothered about the health of the people, and their only concern is to get away from their corruption cases in the NAB, and they just want the government to forget about the looted and plundered money. So their only concern is that they should be in the government and they should oust Imran Khan. Now, coming to your question, again, it was initially their narrative that we should put a complete lockdown to cut the transmission line to control the spread of coronavirus. Now, against their own narrative, they are asking the people to come out and they are willing to hold rallies, jalus and jalsas. Simply, it gives an impression to the people and to the audience outside Pakistan, that their only concern is to have NRO and they are not bothered about the health of the people or the collapse of the health system in the country. Now, today we have we have announced it that we are not going to hold any jalsas, any julus. We had a jalsa in Rashakai and we postponed it because throughout the world there is a second wave, and corona cases have been increased 4 times. So, in order to put a check and in order to continue the economic activities, the best approach is to be careful so that economic activity should continue and people should be protected. People can be protected from the spread of this virus. Now, if they continue, if
More
they continue
focused on
with
the
their stubbornness,
mortality of the issue. My question primarily is not about that. My question is very basic. There is going to be a PDM Jalsa in Lahore. And of course, all political parties are from the opposition are going to be participating in that. and they are going to ensure that a lot of people are there as well. Am asking about policy intervention. What exactly are you going to how exactly are you going to handle it, by the way?
Badawi Sahab, it's very simple. In first place, we will request them to postpone their jalsas. We are not afraid of their jalsa. If
Okay.
they want to play jalsa, we are ready for it. But in case if they do not stop, if they go on with their stubbornness, definitely law will take its course, and we will not let it happen if they go against the law and if they altogether refuse to follow the SOPs. If somehow they ensure us that they will maintain the social distancing, they will make the mask wearing mandatory, then yes,
Yeah.
we can negotiate. But as far as as of now, it is clear that nobody is allowed to hold any gathering, not more
Yeah,
than 300 people.
but here's the concern, and I have to bring in the other guest as well. But here's the concern. One, we saw in Peshawar, where again your party is in power, that today in today's Jalsa there was hardly any social distancing, or for that matter any mask. And then we spoke to PMLN yesterday, and the question was about the very same thing, and they said that you keep on using it as a political instrument because at the time of Gujranwala Jalsa there were many FIRs, and then you all of a sudden dropped all of them. I'm going to come back to you. You can gather your thoughts. Let me bring in Imtiaz Badai Sahab. Imtiaz Badai Sahab, on one side we are looking at a healthcare crisis, right? And it is a global crisis and we have to take care of it. What laws actually empower government to do something about it, particularly when it comes to jalsas? One. The second aspect is the kind of language that is used against the institutions. And is there a way to actually ensure that our institutions, which still are working and sacrificing, are not impugned in this way?
Thank you very much for inviting. Yes, if we see that, first I will go to the narrative, or you see the statements being issued by, especially from PMLN side even.
Yeah.
And even I would like to also refer the speech of Awais Noorani, which he delivered in Quetta, a public meeting of PDM, where he pointed out almost around the agenda, what is the agenda, which is hidden agenda, I must say. That is that.
No, but he corrected himself. But Ayaz Sadiq,
Yeah.
standing on the floor of the House where he has immunity as well,
Yes.
he made certain statements which are really rather ridiculous.
Actually, you see that there are two places which are immune from this any legal proceeding.
Yeah.
One is Parliament, session of Parliament,
Okay.
whether that is of National Assembly or Senate or Provincial
Right.
Assembly.
Right.
And second is proceeding of courts.
Okay.
So these two places are all immune from any proceeding
Yeah.
against those people.
But,
But in case Mr. Ayaz Sadiq will take and will issue this type of statement outside this, you see, house of and floor of the house, he will have. I must say that he will face the music. And
you
he should be.
realize that after that actually those reports blew up and Indian media kept on using them
Yeah, of
against
course,
Pakistan.
yes.
After that he issued an apology in which more or less he repeated the same things
did the
again.
same thing. Actually,
so
that
it was
was-
not on the floor of the House.
Actually, that was planned. Actually, that was not you slip of tongue or otherwise other thing, and he has not admitted it that it was slip of tongue.
Okay.
So that was planned move, and I guess that it was on the dictate of their leadership.
Okay.
I must say, actually, the situation is this, that they are so selfish. They don't believe in that what is going to be happen with the nation or with the state or with
Yeah,
Pakistan.
once again-
they just want they are to get relief for.
Yeah, my question primarily is not about whether they are, for that matter, selfish or not. It is not my place to actually judge anybody, right? My question is, if somebody is violating the law, if there is a law
Yes, they
to
are-
ensure
Yes, of
that
course.
that kind of violations don't take place, one. Two, and actually that was the first question, when it comes to public health hazard, like these humongous rallies that we keep on seeing from Gilgit-Baltistan to various parts of the country. Can we stop them somehow?
Yes, why not? Why not? Because we have audience on it, especially on the spread of corona, and the proceeding can be taken against those people who are not, you see, maintaining social distancing, or they are not, you see, adopting all those precautions which are required to save themselves and other people from corona. So, government should assert itself, and government agencies especially. And the relevant in charge ministers and relevant agencies, they are law enforcers, they should take action. And I
like what?
Like they can proceed against them, they can register cases against them.
That will happen after something is done.
Yes.
And that means thousands of people are potentially exposed to coronavirus by then.
No,
so the state will allow them to do it and then actually stop them.
The state should also take precautionary measures. They should not allow such type of gatherings or public meetings where there is a possibility. They can enforce section 144 of under CRPC.
Nobody stops at that.
Because they
political parties keep on moving.
But even then, if there is any situation where there is a possibility of you see any type of law and order situation, or this type of situation which we are facing, not we are facing, but the whole world is facing. So in that case, section 144 can be used and can be enforced in that particular area, and under that they can be disallowed to held these type of meetings.
That's a very interesting argument. Let me bring in Amer Saab. Amer Saab, your take on the entire thing. We are looking at two kind of challenges. One, to the state institutions that might benefit enemies of Pakistan. Of course, you have seen the Foreign Office and the ISPR actually came up with the evidence how India is trying to disturb law and order in the country. And that is not merely limited to the physical side of it. Of course, propaganda continues as well. On the other side, we are seeing this invisible enemy called coronavirus, and we have to combat that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if political parties, the parliamentary parties, do not use parliamentary language, that is a problem. You know, when we look at the whole episode of protest and rallies, despite the fact that we have seen a number of rising cases in the country in recent days, I think the preemptive action must be taken. The preemptive action needs public safety and the public security, which is required right now. And I think the sensibility and the sensitivity that must come from state persons and statesmen who are not actually now, exercising the political responsibility in order to build a better dialogue in the country. If it is for democracy, if it is for stability of the country, if the ultimate objective is to make an inclusive Pakistan, then I think there are many ways of engagement which is not looking. They are more hawkish.
Is it about democracy though?
Well, I think the obvious the obvious statement is coming as democracy, but
off the top of your head, you can name the political parties which are part of PDM, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me any political party whose leadership has actually not inherited leadership from their own parents?
Absolutely.
So is it democracy?
This is the paradoxical situation. We have seen the top leader, the family dynasties. There is no intra-party democracy. There is no election inside the parties. When you go for a political dispensation and you advocate for a better democratic Pakistan, then you have to look into your own parties as well. There are 11 parties, none of them are democratic in their own nature. So I think the first thing, if you want to show to the public, is the fact that you are democratic yourself and you want to exercise their democratic rights to extend it to the people. But people don't see it, and we have seen in the Gilgit-Baltistan case when people didn't respond to their speeches. They will respond only when you demonstrate through your action that you are democratic in your own nature.
Yeah, so but two of these political parties still got 5 seats, right?
Yeah.
3 People's Party, 2 PMLN. So that means even then, when they are marginalized, they get vote share.
They get the vote share because I think societies have their own dynamics, right? But we look at the general trend. The general trend, the level of mobilization for 1 month, continuous mobilization in every constituency. We have seen number of speeches, number of things which could not move people in majority. I mean,
Okay.
there were some, of course, there are then individuals who have their own vote banks, and
Yeah.
there are many factors into that.
Coming back to the rallies, because we were talking about this, and you said that there should be some kind of preventive measure taken.
Absolutely.
What exactly could that be? More containers in Lahore?
No, I think that the preventive action is for the larger good of public safety, which is required. If it calls for more containers, it is also okay. But if it is done through local administration, you know, like sir was saying, that you have to make the law enforceable. The people must see that things are not right for common people. If you are inviting an increased death toll, now it's increasing day by day, you know, this is very dangerous. I mean, people are nestling together in their thousands.
Yeah,
which
today the shocking part was that there was zero distance between
Absolutely.
people sitting in the pandals,
Absolutely,
right?
that's true.
And it was frightening, even for me to see, because at this moment we are trying to actually avoid as much exposure as possible.
Absolutely.
Somebody loves your cause, loves your party. You want to risk their own lives?
I mean, if you want to send across your message democratically, use the technology. Don't bring in the rallies.
Yeah.
Use the technology.
But
You
that
do your
doesn't happen.
address.
That
But if you
doesn't
want to show your strength, I mean, you have to also show your social responsibility, which is more important now.
Okay,
You
what
can
kind
do
of
your-
technology? Holograms?
No, well, I mean, you can use you know,
Facebook.
online
Facebook online,
Facebook
yes, you
live
can.
program.
Okay.
You send across your message to the people. The people are connected to, you know, social media and
Yeah,
all
the
that.
problem is that, I mean, you and I will also be streaming that link, and then either we will be counted among the viewers, supporters, or then people will say that everybody was watching the tamasha, and they won't be able to show the muscle that they need to show
Yeah,
to make a
that's-
point.
But that is the physical presence is what politicians all would like to see. The
Okay.
people are there, but I think
So
that's
it is not possible to have a jalsa,
yeah.
but also ensure social distancing and usage of mask as well.
Is it possible? I mean, but you know, the compliance of such an arrangement is very difficult. I mean,
Okay.
it's nightmare because thousands of people are on the march, and then who will implement that particular compliance
Right.
strategy?
Asim Shaukat Saab, they say the taste of a pudding, actually the proof of a pudding is in its eating. Now the question is very simple. In Peshawar we have seen the kind of event that took place. Your government, your party is also in government there. Are you going to take any follow-up action there?
First of all, Pratap Sahab, I would like to endorse. You have said a very good sentence that they are so selfish that they are risking the life of those people who love them, who like them, and they are so selfish. And
Earlier I objected to that, but go ahead. Say whatever
yes.
you have to say.
Well, you just said that they are risking the life of those people who like them, who love them.
Yeah.
So because they want to save their own looted and plundered money. Now, again, you have repeatedly you have been asking this question. The idea that there may be many steps that can be taken, like Section 144 can be imposed in letter and spirit. Like yes, we can block the roads leading to the main Jalsaga. We can bar the entry into Jalsaga. Because I've been, Patafi Sahab, I've been a part of a political process. I've been a political worker. I understand that yes, again you are right, that normally it becomes very difficult, in fact impossible, to keep social distancing and to keep wearing masks when you are in an environment, when you are in an jalsa like environment. The mob becomes violent. Sometimes the crowd is very charged, the vibrancy that it speak, so you have to chant slogans. It becomes really very difficult to maintain the SOPs prescribed for the corona. So the best approach is to take preventive measures and to observe the precautionary measures. That is, if you can, better postpone your jalsas until it is expected. I was discussing it with the virologist, and he was saying that hopefully the second wave will be over by the end of February or in the beginning of the March next year. So
Yeah,
this
in the
isn't a
end
big
of
deal.
winters, right? The question
Exactly. Yes.
right now is that since we are talking about all these concerns, and you keep on bringing up the matter of Section 144 and all these punitive measures. Once again, I ask you regarding Peshawar. Forget about Peshawar. It seems that your party or your government keeps on talking about punitive measures, but it doesn't seem to be able to follow through. In Karachi, what happened at Quaid-e-Azam Mausoleum, initially whatever fanfare was there, but today police actually a court actually downgraded that case as well. And Gujranwala, again, when FIR was actually lodged, it was not very coherent one, and as a result, we haven't seen any follow up on that either. So, if you keep on dropping balls, how do you expect to ensure law and order when actually the crisis comes to your hometown?
But Dr. Saab, actually, opposition parties are trying to play a trick and they want to give an impression to the people as we are afraid of them. If we try to stop them by force, they will definitely come up on the media and they will create hue and cry that we are afraid of them and that's why we want to stop them by force. We just want to let them know if they want to criticize the government, if they want to criticize the Prime Minister or the policies or the governance of the government, they are more than welcome. We are here to answer them politically. But we want to win this war on media first. We want to make people realize that whatever they are doing, this is not in the interest of Pakistan. But in case, as you were
saying, that might be a very good political strategy, Asim Saab, but we are talking about human lives here. People who might be exposed to coronavirus and who might not have that kind of healthcare coverage. The question right now is that whether you are going to go with the political strategy or the government's governance strategy where you ensure that your constituents, your citizens are not exposed to the virus at all. I mean, America is a democracy, but even in states like California, they had very rigid stay-at-home order, right? That kind of things have not been implemented here. And you could have gone with any kind of measures to take care of corona exposure.
No, now when we have imposed a ban on the gatherings, and it has been declared that not more than 300 people will be allowed to gather at a place. From now on, I'm expecting that if they go on with this stubbornness, if they do not listen to the instructions of the government, then I'm expecting some strict and some hard decisions on part of the government.
Right.
Against their stubbornness. Yes. We won't let them play with the life.
Let me flip the question and ask Imtiaz Saab. Imtiaz, but let me hang on. My question also is the question. I want to
actually respond and suggest to
you can,
Asim Saab.
But let me flip the question. If the government cannot ensure exposure of protection of people from such exposure, right? Government is government. It has all the administrative controls. As a citizen, what kind of legal recourse do I have? Because I can control myself. I cannot control my brother. He might belong to another party. And if he comes back, God forbid, with the virus, and I also get infected, it is spreading. And if the government cannot implement its own SOPs, who should I hold accountable?
Certainly, I must say that if a person is committing such type of negligence at his part, and he is putting his health at risk, but he is also at the same time contributing for other people who are living with him as family member or who are.
No, I am not going to hold my brother accountable, but I will have to hold the government accountable if I get the coronavirus because of lack
this is
implementation of SOPs.
Yes, I also want to respond a little bit of a previous discussion which was being held with Asim Saab. The government should, Asim Saab, if you are here, the government should take step in every district, because the people are brought from different districts not from Lahore. If the public meeting is at Lahore,
Yeah.
it's not necessary that the people will be from Lahore only. Yes, there will be people from Lahore, but at the same time, the people are brought, as you know that we know the political rallies and political public meetings. They are brought from different districts. So the local administration of districts, those districts, they should also try to stop the people
Yeah,
there,
but,
so that they should not be
I
gathered
know
here.
you also have this
just one
latent
thing.
anchor in you, and you want to ask questions or discuss as well. But my question,
No.
sir, I'm going to come to you, sir. Just a minute.
Okay. Please.
Let me first get my answer. If the governments, and I don't mean the federal government, I don't mean PTI government, any government, Sindh government, if they cannot ensure the safety of their people, and such events, especially if you remember, they wanted to lock down Karachi permanently for quite some time, right? It seems so. And then we saw Karachi Jalsa, and no SOPs, no social distancing. Who do I hold responsible, and how do I do it? Do I have a legal recourse?
Yes. We can, the person who is feeling that it is slackness at the part of government or somebody, he can file a petition in any high court under Article 199
Okay.
and invoke its jurisdiction, and that is quo warranto, you see, because quo warranto writ petition is that petition where it's a particular department which is relevant department, if that fails to perform its functions and duties properly under the law, in that case a direction can be sought from you see the court, and court can also penalize, of course, and ask the you see question from those departments which are responsible to maintain this type of, you see, and enforce this law and regulate this activity, and they can penalize them as well. So this is one option that a common citizen can go to court, and people generally goes there.
Okay.
In many cases you have
And
seen.
then we can get the legal recourse that is needed.
Yes. Yes, of
and
course.
usually people get the relief they want.
Yes, you see now the courts are very vibrant, and
Okay.
they are taking a decision out of the box even.
Yeah.
And you have seen that there are many decisions in the history of independent judiciary.
Yeah.
Now we have, and we can expect this. As you know that the remarks and observation of Chief Justice of Islamabad High Court, they have also given its remarks that the government is failing, and especially you see that when they are saying that 300 people are allowed. Why 300 people are allowed?
Yeah,
and who will count that? And how they will manage that if other people will come in
Yeah.
addition to 300 people?
Yeah, my concern is not to stop the opposition's
No, better on the
agitation.
health ground, on the health ground.
Amir Saab, my concern primarily is at this moment when you have second wave of coronavirus,
Yeah.
you have to first take care. Any citizen is citizen of the country.
Absolutely.
Whether they voted for PMLN, PTI, Jamaat-e-Islami, Jamiyat-e-Ulama-e-Islam, Fazlur Rahman group, any group, right? The opposition parties, even if they delay the events, the momentum is not going to go away from their hands,
Absolutely.
because they have their supporters, they can call them over.
Absolutely.
Is this an argument that can be made politically, if not legally? I mean, can the government reach out and convince them?
Well, I think certainly you have made a very valid point, because there is a communication gap somewhere. The government is coming
Communication gap. There is no communication.
Absolutely. There's a
Between the
breakdown.
government and
There's a
opposition.
breakdown, because there in such crisis situation, actually government must take lead and come with communication. And for example, the CMs, the ministers, and everybody should consult with the opposition parties, sit with them, see, guys, you can do your things. Now we are all in a crisis situation. This momentum will not go away, because people will also, if God forbids, if there is a big rise of this coronavirus, there are a number of deaths, we are overwhelmed, our health sector is not so strong. So in that case, then the opposition parties will also be losing their support, because right now it is important that they understand the public safety is first, and this message must go out positively to the people that we want to hold rallies, but there is a problem, there is a risk, so that's why we are delaying it, but we will do it.
Yeah.
So this is one message from the opposition. But from the government, the government must also engage them. So this is I see there's a big gap. But the government is not trying to engage. They are coming with a very iron fist. They say that we control everything. We have the power.
And that might not be possible because of many pressure groups and many dynamics.
Absolutely, and that will not work even because you cannot control through force, coercion. Though you have.
Can you think of any leader who might be able to reach out to the opposition, provided opposition is ready to listen to them?
I think the president of Pakistan must go.
Arif Alvi Sahab.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my feeling because he is not running a constituency. He's the representative of state.
Okay.
Who must rise above the power.
And he is a medical doctor as
well.
well.
As a doctor as well, he can come up with expert opinion, but he can also be more acceptable than any other minister in current government. So I think he may be.
Don't you think that head of NCOC, Asad Umar, might be better placed to actually reach out to people?
Asad Umar may go, but Asad Umar is embroiled with many other things. Like if he goes, then there are other ministers who will say, "Hi, why are you going there?" I mean, there is infight is also important in parties.
That happens?
That happens, absolutely.
Okay, let me come back to Asim Shaukat Sahab. Asim Sahab, let us for a second assume one thing, that the government of Pakistan, that the state of Pakistan might not have that kind of levers to ensure that people don't gather and people don't actually agitate in a way where they might actually get sick. So if we make this assumption, then the other thing is to actually appeal to the better side of somebody, to their compassion, and that can be done politically. Is there a possibility that your party or your leadership can reach out to the opposition and convince them to suspend this agitation for a month or two, and then of course it can be business as usual later?
Patafi Sahab, thank you very much for this question. Indeed, this is a very valid question in these times. But you know, what the problem is. Actually, we have been trying and we are ready to sit with opposition, to discuss with opposition all the issues of national interest. We are ready to come to the table to discuss like electoral reforms, like judicial reforms, or any other issue of national importance. But unfortunately, as my friend has just said, that Arif Alvi is the right, he's a very respected man, is the right choice, or Asad Umar is the right choice. No, sir. The problem is not person specific. Unfortunately, the problem is issue specific. They don't want to discuss anything other than corruption cases. Unfortunately, perhaps you don't know, whenever we tried to meet them, whenever we tried to have negotiations with them, whenever we try to bring them to negotiation table. For example, FATF is a wonderful example. We try to engage them to have some legislation in the interest of Pakistan. They simply refused. They said, first make decision about our NAB cases and waive 34 out of 38 provisions. So whenever we try to talk to them, they come up with a one-point agenda, that is NRO.
Shaukat Sahab, here's the
this
problem.
Is something that is not acceptable to the Prime Minister.
I get your point, and I'm going to build on that. I understand that the opposition might need some kind of concession, but we are also talking about suspension of activities right now that are going on the streets, right? In the olden times, whenever there used to be, a flotilla or any ship in which they used to have people incarcerated, whenever that ship was attacked, they would actually free everybody, and everybody would unite to first save the ship and then sort their own issues out. Is there a possibility that the government can also provide them a suspension of activities for a couple of months until coronavirus is over, and then you can come back to whatever you were doing, both sides? I mean, you need some kind of a pact to ensure that people don't get hurt anymore.
Patafi Sahab, again, you have pointed out a very tricky question. They are afraid of Senate elections. They don't want anything after Senate elections. They know that once Senate elections are held, we'll be having majority in both the houses, and we'll be having free hand for the legislation. This is
They
what
can
they
be
actually
also,
want to disrupt.
they can also
Number
be
two.
delayed, can't they?
But number two, let me be very clear and very honest with you. It has been, Prime Minister Imran Khan Sahab has decided in letter and spirit that nothing at the cost of corruption cases. He's not going to leave them, not going to drop their corruption cases. No NRO at all. Whatever. Basically, you are saying what they actually want. They are trying to play with the situation. They are trying to blackmail us with the lives of the people. And what do they want in return? They want to get away with their corruption cases. This is something that is not acceptable to the Prime Minister Imran Khan.
No, I get that.
This is what
I
they
was
have been doing
only
for the last
alluding
so
to
many
the
decades.
idea of a shutdown without calling it so. A shutdown where businesses continue, but people and such political activities can be suspended for a couple of
Exactly,
months.
yes. This
that
is something
that
can
actually ensures that people are not infected, but you can also
Exactly.
continue with the economic activity of the country. That is
Yes,
not a big
this
ask.
is
Nobody
a
is
bit-
asking for the government to offer any kind of NRO here, right? The only thing is suspend all political activity for a couple of months and then resume it when the crisis is over.
Actually, one of my friend was saying that we should have crackdown in, or we should stop that they will bring people from different districts, and we should stop them from bringing people from different districts. Again, I will repeat, this is what they want. They want to play on this situation. Once we stop them, and then they'll on media and they'll start saying that, look, government is afraid of us, and the government is not letting us hold our jalsas and julus. But in
No,
first place,
of course,
we
that
want
is
to-
true. This is, Imtiaz Sahab, this is something that we have heard from other places as well. Many of the critics of opposition actually point out that Ayaz Sadiq's that statement was essentially an attempt to midline the state institutions, cut down the stature of the country, and then also seek an NRO, right? The question might be that, but at this moment, the concern is that corruption is important. I mean, fighting corruption is important, but who are you protecting when you are fighting corruption? You are primarily protecting the people of Pakistan. So the people of Pakistan, if they get infected because the political activism of both sides, that is again a loss. So is there a possibility for both sides to actually do one thing? Like in cricket matches, there is rain. So they all go back to the pavilion. I mean, if it is a test match, you can come back the next day, next day, right? And play again. Stop all these activities for now. Government does government job, opposition does whatever it wants to, but not political activism. After a month or two, they can resume all their activities and there can be dialogue in between.
No, actually, you see, this you are saying this, and this is, I agree with you, but you see, it does happen.
You agree with me, but
where common sense prevails. But here the objectives are different. You see,
okay.
here they have one objective is to get relief from accountability cases.
Yeah.
They have only this you see objective, and on the other part, I must say, I want to say on this forum as well. Actually, the target is CPAC. I tell you.
Okay.
This is a big
No,
game.
this is a
big
new one.
game.
Okay.
This is a big game for build on big you say scenario, and the main objective is to stop CPAC or create hurdle. This is the objective over enemies which are being they are they are using because of their this you see wish that there should be some relief from accountability. So there's no nationalism in Pakistan, because if
hang on.
oh,
Don't
if-
make
no, please
don't make such a big claim. I'm a nationalist. He's a nationalist. You are a nationalist.
Let me finish. Actually, you see that nationalism in the politics, so I must say at this time, because the statements of Ayaz Sadiq that indicates that he does not believe in, and he did not like to be a national leader. You see, because he has given an opportunity to over enemies.
My question is not about that.
On the other side, no, the main objective is CPAC. I tell you.
Okay.
I'm again saying this.
Yeah,
And
but
you
I'm
will-
talking
and you will
about
see, and
people
they are
of
using
Pakistan and
They are being
coronavirus.
used actually as the statements of Awais Nurani in Quetta. although he has later on he has given some clarification on it, but the initial use statement, when a person who is a politician and also a religious leader, he is saying that is indicating the agenda what they have actually, and because of that agenda they are not ready to talk with government and to talk with anything where sense will prevail.
You know, I am not the one to cut much flack to the religious political parties, right? I'm hugely critical. But let me remind you that when you talk about Awais Noorani, remember his father, because Maulana Fazlur Rahman's father's party, Jamiyat-e-Ulama Hind, when it came to Pakistan, the rest of them actually refused to rename it according to Pakistan. They called Jamiyat-e-Ulama Islam. His party or the faction was the only faction that actually accepted the moniker of Pakistan. So let us not actually start saying that everybody, and there is no nationalism in the country.
No, I'm not saying.
You said that earlier.
I'm talking about these leaders, what they are doing in PDM, you see.
Yeah,
their statement is indicative that, and that is evidence.
But my concern, again, Amir Saab, I'm told that we have to wind up the program. You can conclude on my behalf. Is there a need for political parties to come to one point agreement that there should be suspension of political activities till the time coronavirus issue is over? Then you can resume if you want.
Absolutely, this is critically important right now. All parties must realize that, because they have been playing politics in the country and they know that if there are people, they're secure and their health is protected, then they can do their politics later on. This is absolutely required, and this is a national need right now. So everybody is looking for that, and we hope that we are optimistic that they will understand, the sense will prevail, and things will be improved.
Yeah, and that is a very important point. Amir Saab, bahut shukriya. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Imtiaz Hussain Badai sir, thank you very much as well, sir. Asim Shaukat sahab, thank you very much for joining us on Skype. Viewers, you have listened to our participants. These issues are important. The concern right now, when you look at the... Sir, what are you saying, Asim sahab?
I am saying we request you to float this idea to the opposition parties to suspend the political parties. If they agree, I assure you that government will agree.
No, I'm not asking anybody to suspend political parties. I'm only talking about political activity.
But sir,
I'm not a political agent, sir. I can only host a program and talk about these things on television. It is up to politicians like your good self
the political corridors
to actually take care of this concern. But regarding these issues, as I was saying that there are multiple crises that we are seeing, not only in the country, all over the world. Economic crisis is huge, and that is a challenge that is going to really impact lives of many people. Similarly, healthcare itself is a crisis. We don't know when we are going to have a vaccine and when it is going to come reach our own people. So at this moment, precaution is the only way of cure. So it is important that political parties agree on this single point, and let us hope that happens. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.